my creatives, and welcome to another video. So today I'm here to share an art junk journal process with you, and I'm starting off with some transparent gesso today because I'm working on pages that are not meant for mixed media. So I like to add layer of transparent gesso to them to give them a little bit more sturdiness. Also, the cards that are already stuck on the magazine page are printed with an inkjet printer, so I added this layer to prevent them from bleeding too much and seal them a little bit. After that, I went into my scrap box and I found this piece of wrapping paper that I thought would complement the card that says "You make me smile," and I'm going to cover the white page completely with it. So I just have a starting point to, well, play with my paints, because this page was just about playing. There's no, how do I say that, deeper meaning to this page for me than just I needed to art and I needed to art journal. It has been a little while since I made an art journal page, and I really felt the need to create an art journal page. So that is what I'm doing here today. So most of the times my art journal pages do have an extra meaning to them, but this time it's just me having fun, which is also a great meaning. I cut down the wrapping paper on the other page, and I'm using the scrap pieces to add them to the other side of the page. So I like to repeat certain elements on both sides of the page to create a more of a cohesive look, and that's also what I'm going to do with the other pieces of wrapping paper that I have. So these are just scraps that were laying in my scrap box, and I'm on this mission to try and use as much scraps as I can, because these boxes are getting, well, overwhelmed. It's ridiculous. So I need to use a lot of these scraps, and also it gives me a very nice start with a color story and colors to work with. So that's what I'm doing here. What I thought was pretty cool is that this white wrapping paper with the dots became semi-transparent, so you could see the other wrapping paper underneath it, and I thought it was pretty cool, and something that I didn't expect would happen. So that was a little extra treat to my page. For the rest, it's just scraps that are from my scrap bin. I think the light pink is a thicker cardstock, and the other pink papers are a thinner kind of paper. And I'm gluing them down with some Ranger multi-medium matte, just randomly. I don't think too much about it because this page was completely intuitive. I just started out with making the decision on which page I wanted to work. Then I saw the color on the card of that "You Make Me Smile," and I thought, well, I can find some papers that would fit that, and that will jumpstart my creativity. So that is what happened next. And then after that, I thought, okay, I need a little bit of white to add some painting, to break it down a little bit, to calm everything down a little bit, but I don't want to cover the whole page with white. So I took some white gesso and just, well, made some space for myself to add more paints. After that, I decided to go through my stencils, and I found this triangular stencil that I had never used before, so I thought it was a great time to use this stencil, and I'm grabbing some distress paint to stencil it on. And with the paints that I chose, I also had a look at my page and the colors that were already on there, because I like to have, well, controlled color palettes. They can exist of more colors, of course, but I like to repeat the same colors or get close to certain colors or highlight certain colors in my art journal pages to keep them cohesive. So that's why I chose this yellow distress paint, and I'm using this beautiful triangular stencil. Now you see that I have paint left over, and I just took a cheap notebook that I use for leftover paints, and then when I feel a little bit less creative, there's already something for me on that page, and I can complete that page later on. So that's what I do with my leftover paints, because I think it's such a waste if I would throw that away, and I don't really like that because it's just a beautiful color. So now I did something that I never did before, and I don't know what I think about it. So I used the same sponge with the pink paint, and I do kind of like the blending, but I also miss the brightness of that worn lipstick paint that I used. So I'm adding some more plus signs with a brush also because I had paint left over, but I also missed really that brightness of the pink. So I don't know if this is something that I'm going to do again using the same sponge for another color, but it was fun to try out because I saw other people do that and I thought, well, let's try it out. To add another texture to my page, I use this Dina Wakley stencil with an archival ink, and archival ink is permanent. I didn't want this to run, so that is why I chose an archival ink. And as you see that I take certain colors out of this paper and this page as my more dominant colors, like the yellow, the pink, and that beautiful blue. Of course, I picked blue as a more dominant color, but I wanted to highlight those more. And also to make sure that my collage would fit in with my painting. So I didn't know what to do, and that is when I decided to do a doodly border with a gold marker. And like I said, this process was completely intuitive. I didn't know what I was journaling about. I didn't know what I was going to make. I just took it step by step. And that is something that I am encouraging you to do as well. If you have trouble with art journaling or if it feels so intimidating, just take it step by step. Most of the times, I don't know how my end result will look. I know what I want to journal about, and I know what colors I want to use. So this time I just wanted to journal about having fun in my art journal. And I picked certain colors, and that is where it ended for me. So now I am drawing in some leaves, and I'm just loosely sketching them in to give myself a reference. And they are just simple doodles. I love adding these doodles. I'm feeling that I am entering this world of mark making and doodling in my art journal, which I very, very much enjoy doing. And after that, I'm going to take this Mode Lawn distress paint, and I'm going to paint in the leaves. Just some simple painting, nothing more than that. And like I said, this was the next step that I planned out. I didn't know what I wanted to do after this. So I take it step by step. So now you're here, I want to ask you something, that if you like this video, I would love it if you would give me a thumbs up. I would also love it if you would consider subscribing to my YouTube channel and put on the notification bell on all notifications if you like this content. I create a lot of different content like snail mail, art journaling, mental health videos, memory keeping. I do all sorts of things. So if you're interested in that, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel and put the bell on all notifications. And if you are ever wondering what I used, all the supplies that I used are listed down below in the description box with their color names. And if I can find it online, there are links. Just remember that some of them are affiliate links. So now moving on to the next step of my art journal page, and that was doodling. So I thought, well, and my leaves needed something else, and I took a black Posca paint marker to just scribble some doodles around them to give them a little bit more definition. But I already knew when I started doing this that I wanted to add the white as well, because black is so harsh. It can be very, very dominant, and I do like a little bit of black, but I didn't want it to be as dominant as it is right now on this page. And that is why I love to use the Posca paint markers, because you can beautifully layer them on top of each other, because they're pretty much opaque once they are dry. Of course, you need to make sure that they are dry, especially when you go in with a white marker. And now I'm going in with a white Posca paint marker to retrace my doodles, and it just gives her this sketchy, fun little look. It's just a lot of fun to doodle this, and you don't have to worry about it being perfect or that you have to have a lot of drawing skills, because everyone can draw these circle leaves and just doodle and scribble around them. So that's always a very good plus for me, that I don't have to worry about my perfectionism, because I'm going for this messy and fun look. So after that, I of course dried it, and then I went in with my gold marker again, because I also used that on the borders, and I decided to add some dots in the leaves. So at the bottom of the leaves, close to the stem, I add more dots and less dots on top, and I did that for all the leaves. After that, I found that my leaves weren't standing out enough and there was not enough depth. So I tried this gelato, but it was too light. And I show you this because I also try out things on my page, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So this gelato didn't work for me, and I grabbed my Neo color 2 and decided that this color was pretty much the color that I did enjoy using, because it was a little bit darker and it spread out nicer with more pigment. And so I decided to use that. And with shading, I always start out light. So you can see it here. I'm pretty careful with putting down my shading, because once you go dark, you can't go back to the lightness. So I always try to be a little bit more careful in the beginning and building up my layers or my shading as I go, as I see fit. So I will start doing the other side now, and I decided that I did like it a little bit darker. So we will also go back to the other side to create a little bit more of a darker shade of blue on there. And I'm using a water brush for this because it's a very, very easy, nice brush to use. There's already water in the tube, and I very much enjoy that I don't have to dip my brush into water. It's also very, very easy to clean. So I really enjoy using water brushes for things like this. So you see me blotting off some of the color. That's because there was a pretty hard edge between the color and my other, well, elements on my page. So by using that paper towel, I try to make it less of a harsh border and make it look more blended in. After I did that, I decided that I wanted to have this very fun figure on my page. And to just make this little crazy looking page, because it was a little bit of crazy looking page. I don't know, I think it's the inner happy me showing here, and spring coming, and I really want to make this happy page. And I found her in a fashion magazine, and I thought she was just perfect, and her body, how she's standing is just perfect. So I decided to stick her onto my page, and now I'm going to grab some Ranger Multimedia Matte to add a layer on top of her, because this is a glossy magazine page and I don't like glossy magazine pages. So I tend to add a layer of Multimedia Matte on top of my magazine collages. Then I found this Dilutions quote: "You don't have to be crazy to be my friend, I'll train you." And I thought that was perfect for me and my page and this lady standing there. Thank you all so much for watching. If you liked this video, I would love it if you'd give me a thumbs up. I would also love it if you would consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. Put the notification bell on all notifications. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you all next time. Bye!